what do I have? All right? And if he's going to throw an offside, which is one of the things I really like, is as he takes his step, I go to here with my shield, and I drop right into his kidneys, ribs, back, because I don't want to fight straight. I want you to think I'm fighting straight. And with just a little bit of footwork, you can play the bullfighter. Think bullfighter. Same thing works. Go ahead.
Do you just kind of sit back and wait for them to come in on you?
Yeah, it's a counter.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Now I can be the aggressor, but against your upper echelon fighters, I find that the aggressor is at a disadvantage. So you want to force a fight, but you don't want to force a fight in your disadvantage.
Are you rocking up on the...
John.
Subtly there where you're putting...
I could, but I tend not to, because what I'm doing is I'm here, I'm waiting. If the situation doesn't occur and you step this way, I want to be able to back out and bail, because it's not my advantageous situation right now. Yeah, I'm trying to keep even pressure on him. Depends. If I know that this guy's got a really good wrap, and if he crosses this way and then pops back this way, I know I want to be able to drive out. So I'm going to probably cheat a little weight to this foot so that I can drive myself out fast. Because as I come in, as he's here, if he jukes this way, I can now rotate out, take the wrap out. But I'm doing that because I'm driving off of that foot. Does that make sense? All right. Question? No? We're all good? We're all getting this? All right. So, yeah. Thank you. Thanks for your help. So, by the way, the attacks that I used on him, that offside, was at front. Was I attacking the front?
No.
3 or whatever's behind 3. Right. However we number this. All right. However we number the cube. We want to try to attack where our opponent's shield isn't. Because how many of us have watched the new guy come in, and what's the first thing he does? Beats the snot out of the shield. That's right. Just trying to cut through the shield. Well, we all know better than that. But do we? How many times do you hit the shield when you know that you're going to get the head? Because you're firing straight ahead. Now, if you're faster, yeah, do that. But there are always people faster than us out there. So we can't always count on our speed. And there are always going to be people that are stronger than us out there. So we can't, count on making that quarter block, because there's always going to be a dab in to drive the shield down and hit you in the head, right? So we don't want that to happen. So we want to make sure that we're attacking deep, and we also want to make sure that we're aware that our opponents, when they're good, are going to be doing what? Attacking us more or less this way. Whether they're consciously thinking of it or just doing it instinctually. Not everyone breaks things down into a science. Some people are just so good that they just go out there and they do. And they do things that, we have to kind of analyze and try to figure out. Well, I'm trying to break some of that analysis down and say, okay, some of these guys, this is what they're doing to us. And if we make our blocks, realizing that they're going to come in behind us, we keep our center of gravity, keep our ability to rotate away from things, we're going to realize that they're going to be able to attack those outside angles or the inside deeper angles, scorpion wraps or whatever, and realize that we're as vulnerable behind as they are. And if we start to attack more behind or set them up with footwork to get behind them, we're going to have a lot more repertoire. Lost that.
Okay.
All right, so questions?
Do you ever teach that
you did have a broadsword, you're actually trying to take the leg off, you know? I mean, that's the way I used to think of it when generating power, or, you know. I mean, this is a more analytical approach, I think.
Yeah, well, that's what you're doing. Because as you cut through these two zones, you should have enough power to get to the other one. Right? Because both of them are in the two zones. So you're cutting clean through both legs. Without saying cut through both legs. Because we're not. We're hitting armor, and our broadsword's not cutting through the leg. So we want to hit with enough power that they know through their plate armor, through their titanium with the half-inch of camp foam behind it, and the dead nerve endings, that they've been hit. This is how I do it, and this is how I get my folks to do it. I know in An Tir, you guys hit hard. I've always known An Tirians hit hard. It's good. I like it. I like no doubt. Right? I really like when we fight, when there's no question when I've been bested and when you've been bested. I think that is the best way to do this game. Yeah, it's crystal clear. Like, I have been bested. I want to know it. At the same time, you know, we also know that there's slop. And if folks are throwing with, whether it's the fire cut through a limb technique, or they're using zones like this, I think that this is easy to teach new people, to get them to generate power. Because I don't know if you remember when you were new, many of us didn't want to hit people too hard. Many of us were afraid they were going to hurt someone because they were the big guy and they were always told you're too big, you're going to hurt someone. Be nice to your brother.
Yeah.
All right? So we're taught to not be so brutal sometimes. This kind of sanitizes it a little bit. All right? Just fire through the two zones. You don't have to think about it. You just do it. Works with polearms, great swords, axes, everything we do for generation of power, this will do. Now, is there technique involved? Absolutely. You know, you're not doing a hammer strike through these zones, because would that be foolish? It's a waste of energy, because you know we want to throw with good power. You've all seen Bellatrix, how he throws his shots. You've all learned how to throw your blows. So I don't really need to go through basic blow shot generation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. You all bend your wrist at the end of your blow? Yes? No?
No.
No? You snap the wrist at the end of the shot?
Yeah.
No?
I've got a bad thumb. I drag my sword around with
You're
my
snapping your
trigger.
wrist there.
I close and finish at the end, but I don't particularly snap because all the whip is coming from the sword swinging on the trigger.
Okay, you're using a trigger.
I'm using a trigger.
All right. That generates almost
It's almost the
that
same
same motion. I find that I was generating too much power with the trigger and I was hurting my metacarpals. So I stopped using the trigger. Because I was still doing the wrist snap, using the triggers as well. And I was putting too much stress here. So your impact would be hard enough that these bones would get bruised. Or, in fact, stretch.
Maybe that's why I hurt there.
What's that?
Wow, my
I hurt there
hands
all the
swell
time.
all the time. Yeah, just maybe that's
So
what it is.
I actually use my grip. My grip is kind of a trigger. So I almost snap almost all of my blows, whether it's offside or onside.
You never find that you lose grip at all, or
No. What's that?
What do you mean by lose grip?
oh, even with a trigger, sometimes I lose the sword. I think my fingers just
Off of impact?
yeah.
Sometimes off impact,
Yeah.
yeah. If you're hitting hard enough, yeah. You might lose it off of impact.
Yeah.
Hopefully the trigger or the lanyard's keeping the damn thing in your hand.